What's the plan for you to get it?
So go ahead and mute your microphones just for all of us here. All right, let me see, what do I have here? Oh, that's not. All right, and let me double check. Oops, did that wrong. Sorry. There we go. All right, I can't see what you guys can see, so I hope it says coaches meeting 27 February. I have some people still coming in. First thing I want to talk today is about registrations. Currently, we did extend the registration to March 13th. Even I was having trouble getting students for my teams. So we extended it to give students and teachers an extra time to think about it. Give some, we had some teams on the fence, so this will help them out. Currently, the payment system that we have inside Olympiad is working for everybody. We do have one team that had a glitch on it for some reason, and we need them to keep trying. It may be, and I'll talk to them later about it, but it is working. We do have 11 schools right now, and they've registered 21 teams, which is quite a few less than we've had before. I do know there are a few out there that are still working on that. From here on the registrations, I need to go in and set up the system to allow you to generate the registration forms for parents, to set up your teams, and to assign students to their different teams. And then I also need to set up the schedule of the events, and that'll pop up after your students come in. You assign them to a team. It'll come up where you can check off which events they are in. Are there any questions about registrations out there?
Let me see here. Hi, Alan.
Hi, Andrea.
How are you doing?
Busy as all get out.
I can imagine. I just have a quick question. We already registered our teams. And I went and I started adding the students in the line.
Okay.
And then the number pops next to them. What's the next step?
So the next step from there is going to be, when I set up the schedule this weekend, is for you to actually put them into their individual events.
Awesome. So I'll finish that today so you can have it by the end of the day. Thank you.
Yeah, so your next step is I need to set up the schedule. I need to set up so that the events populate into your system, so that you can say, okay, Johnny's going to do Code Busters and Susie's going to do helicopters or whatever.
Got it. Okay, I'm still working on adding them, so I'll work on that today. Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, good morning, Ellen. This is Sri.
Hello, Sri.
So I have a question on the registration. Since it's extended, I haven't registered the teams yet. So I only registered the school, so I still have to go ahead and do the team and the payment. So does this mean that I have time till March 13th to finish?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, like I said, I think my team just paid yesterday, so we're still, yeah, you have plenty of time.
Okay,
I think the more important thing right now is, if you know the students that you have that you're ready to send out the rule book to, go ahead and get that done and get them studying, because we can take care of the registrations later on.
All right.
Okay.
Alan, Fatima Latif from Lemon Road Elementary. Just two questions. Will you also be assigning team numbers after you're done with this weekend, or does that really don't matter right now? It's not really.
That's a good question. I don't think it matters right now, because we're all going to be on the same schedule. Somebody's got their microphone on and typing. It's annoying me there. Thank you. I don't think team numbers matter that much this weekend because we all have the same schedule. We're all competing at the same time. So that's more of an administrative thing. It may work its way out this weekend after I set all the rest of the stuff up.
Okay, and the part where we actually assign the students, we put them all into the that wonderful lady just said that she's in the process of doing that. That deadline is till when?
For the students into what events? Oh, that's like
yeah, just putting the students into events and just
that's like a week before the competition. That's not a big deal this year.
Okay, got it. Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. So I've got people coming in still, and I've got to admit them. Okay. Yes, who's this?
Hey, Alan, this is Julie from Basis.
Hey, Julie.
We have some problem with paying the invoices. It sounds like we sent a check, but the check was not received.
I'm not too worried about that. I think like the conversation thread went is the mail has been horrible. We are not going to, and I know that I think my treasurer's on today. We're not going to kick a team out because they haven't paid. To me, really, the payment needs to be done. And I'm not too sure how Science Olympiad does this. I don't know if it's you have to have payment. We have to have payment before we can let you do certain steps. That might be that, but we can work with that. Right now, your more important thing is making sure the students have the rules, making sure the students are getting ready for the competition, because everything else will work out.
I have another question. I'm a new coach. So there's a registration document, like 5 forms. Where do we upload those? I sent to you. I just emailed.
So yeah, give me 1 second here, and let me get into Sci Olympiad, and I will show everybody where things are. Oops, that's the wrong way. There we go.
Alan, one other thing, I believe that the coaches will be able to sign in their students to events only after we assign the team numbers.
Okay, yeah.
So.
All right, can you guys see this is the coach dashboard. Can you see this?
No.
No.
No, we cannot.
We're seeing.
You cannot?
We see the PowerPoint.
Yeah, we see
you still see the PowerPoint. All right, give me 1 second. Let me stop that share and let me share a different screen then. Okay, head coach. All right. Now I forgot what the question was. Oh, the upload of forms. Here under compliance on the head coach dashboard, there's this upload documents. This is where you would upload your registration forms, the principal signature and all that kind of stuff. And it tells you what they are. It would be nice if you told us, made sure that the file has your team name on it, your school name on it. That way it makes it easier for us to go through and sort all that out. Next registration question.
Alan, hi, this is Deepa. Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm representing Forestville Elementary. So we already have a Division B team, and the school was registered for the Division B team. Do I have to go through that process again?
Yes, they are two different competitions. So and right now it's actually 2 different websites, two different sets of information. Right now we're not all under the BC Virginia Science Olympiad hat for our registrations for our competition.
Alan, someone is asking you to let them in.
Oops, sorry, I've lost that little window here somewhere. Give me 1 second.
So I have to go through that principal signature, everything, that paperwork that I did for Division B.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I have a quick question. This is Ritika. Do we have to have a certain number of children committed prior to registering the school?
No.
Okay. And then the teams are, I did last year with a co-coach. Is it still teams of 2 or 3, or are there different rules this year for?
It's all in the rule book.
Okay.
All right, hold on a second. This is, I cannot find my Zoom window now. I'm surprised you guys are still talking with me. That's not it.
Yeah, we can see you, Alan.
I know, but I can't see you guys. Oh, there we go. There we go. All right.
So I have a registration question. This is Bethany from TJ Elementary, and this is my first year doing this too. I need to actually get the principal's signature on this document as opposed to an email from him saying it's okay.
Good question. Good question. I think if you attach his email to the form, that'll be fine with me.
Okay. Great.
The more important thing here is making sure the principal knows that you have a team going on, because they are the deciding authority as to whether students should participate in these kind of things or not. And it gets more important once you get to B and C, because it has to be a school sponsored. Division A, we sort of, a lot of ours are PTA sponsored, but at least they've told their principal that yes, we're going to do this. So that's more important to me right now. All right, I can see Bethany, but I cannot see everybody else.
I have a quick question regarding registration. It's an extremely silly question, but I just want to cover all my bases. So right now we're at Lemon Road and we have 3 teams. What if one out of the blue, we don't have any dropouts yet, but a whole chunk of people decide to drop out and I lose a whole team? So then I've registered for 3, but then I'll end up with 2. Will my payment still reflect 3, or do I get reimbursed for 1?
We haven't discussed that yet.
Okay.
Because
in the past we've had a few students drop out. It hasn't reflected like a whole team being shrunk, but I just wanted to clear that up just in case.
Right. We haven't discussed that yet this year.
Okay, thank you.
So the one thing that is that plus side on you is you are able to move students between teams within Olympiad.
Right.
So if you did have to come and adjust, then you could adjust students into the other 2 teams.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Alan,
go ahead.
I have one more question. I know as a coaches, we have to submit some information and then we have to send a form to the parents to fill that out. Exactly what's the role of the parents on this whole thing? What do they have to do for the
let me answer part of it, and then more will come later on another slide that I have. The parents right now, their biggest thing is, if, in my point of view, is to help the students find information to study. The second thing is during the day of the competition, we're going to ask some of them to become the judges for their children. And they're going to have to help videotape, like on Right Stuff. They're going to have to help not videotape, but record the student participating in the event. Parents for your side, they can be your mentors, so they can be the ones again that are helping students study. Even if it's not their own child, they could set up things, and that's going to come up here in a moment also. But their biggest thing right now is just being that mentor to the child and saying, okay, let's take a look at the rules. Let's sit down and look at the rules. What does it say you need to study? And then what is not written? Because the rules are written so that whoever writes the test has the ability has a lot of leeway on where they get their information. One of the biggest questions that I'm going to start getting here really quickly from parents is, where's the stuff to study? Well, there really isn't a set guideline of what to study, other than if it's an anatomy and it's about muscles, well, you better be studying muscles. We do not keep tests that we can hand out from previous times. There is, for those of you who haven't found it yet, there's Scioli out there that has tons of tests that have been written for B and C. A is sort of a different place, and that's spelled SCIOLY.org, and it's put up there by Science Olympiad alumni who just have a love for science, and they put things up there for kids to study. And then, like I said before, North Carolina is another place to go look at their Science Olympiad information. They have a ton of stuff out there also. But their job is to basically help mentor that child into getting into the habit of studying for an event, setting goals, setting, setting time aside. And at this point in the game, if they're not practicing every day or studying every day, they might be behind the learning curve.
But in regards to paperwork, is there something they have to submit online?
Correct, there is. And my computer is messing up because I cannot see how I can change you guys into, let's see, I can see you. There's Zoom. Nope, cancel that. It's wanting me to sign into another Zoom call.
So Andrea, just while Alan gets his bearings right with the Zoom,
Yes.
there is something that's called parent release forms that will be put
Yes.
out there. So for each child, even if parents have 2 children participating, each child will be, we will have to send, it'll be an automatically generated email that we will send with their ID number, and then the parent release forms have to.
Got it. That I wasn't sure if that was what we needed, the release forms. Okay.
Right, yeah. So here under compliance on the head coach's dashboard, there's these release forms. It's going to tell me I don't have a team, or it's going to give me this link right here. If you send this link to your parents, then it will, they can sign in. And then when the team numbers are set up, then that's when it's going to automatically generate the student numbers. I guess the other thing is to make sure that that they understand that no child needs to register with SciOlympiad. From their point of view, they're going to, let me make sure I find the right place here. Yeah, they're going to get into this, their competition day. All they need is that code that SciOlympiad is going to automatically generate to get in to take a test. So they don't need to be signing up in SciOlympiad. We don't need their email. All they need is this page right here, the student dashboard, to click on.
Awesome.
Hey,
That
Alan.
was my question. Thank you.
Alan, this is Kirsten Sabos.
Hi, Kirsten.
One thing I can offer, I have both Division B and Division C coach with regards to those logins. Once your kids are registered, so you're going to use the link that Alan just showed will be specific to your school once you're registered. So you'll send that specific link. So he can't drop that link in the chat box right now and send it out to you, but you'll have to go get it once you're registered in the system. But anyhow, you'll need to take that link and send it to the parents. They're going to then register, but they need to use the specific name. Everything needs to be spelled correctly every time and consistently. And then when they get that login ID, everything's got to match up. So be real careful when you're entering the team names, all your student names in the system, because when the parent registers, in order for everything to match up, it's got to be spelled the same. So FYI.
No, and
even,
also if
even
you can
even an extra space on that student name will mess up the system.
Right. And as a coach, if you're registering your student by their official name that they have given, sometimes it's if the name is Abhinav and the parent and all of us decide to call him Abhi, the parent should also be told it has to be the name that has been given. So please don't tell the parents that it shouldn't be Abhi, it should be the whole name, because it's going to mess it up otherwise.
Yeah, so what I did is I basically sent them, this is the name I used.
Exactly.
This is the first name, this is the last name, and this is your registration link.
Yeah, it's tedious, but to potentially do it that way, but that's exactly what pretty much you have to do.
Yeah.
Do we get a list of the kids who have been attached to our school whose parents have submitted the release form or whatever that link is? Does that kick back at us?
Yeah, you will see that on your coach dashboard.
Okay.
Actually, I can go in and show you what my Division B looks like so that you guys see what those actually look like. Give me 1 second here. Me. And then I go into, all right, let me share this. So this is my roster for Division B. And you can see over here, it tells if they registered, if the parent has submitted their release form. This is the login ID that they would need for my team. And you can see it's got the student names here. You can import your names. So if you put them in a spreadsheet, it's probably the fastest way to get them all in. And then, like I said, once I generate the team numbers, it'll give them the login ID. And from that point on, we're ready to do like the test out so they can go test the system out and so forth. But it does show whether, the parents have signed the release, if they're totally registered and so forth.
Alan, this is Deepa again. So like I said, I have a Division B team. So you're saying that because the interface is exactly the same, it looks like the same website. So you're saying that for Division A, it's totally different?
Right. So this one here, let me show you the difference here. So on this one here, you see up in the corner, it says Virginia Science Olympiad.
Right.
If I go into the Division A group, it actually changes the website name to Virginia Science Olympiad Division A.
Okay. Okay.
And that's how you know when you're in the two, the difference between the two. Yeah. So, and really, it's better this way because nobody from Division B can participate in Division A.
Right.
So Alan, why don't we send out an email to all the coaches on the things that they need to be doing from here on? We can list out these stuff regarding parent registration and all, because we still have to check whether our system has been set up to receive the releases yet. So
Correct.
let's send out an email, with all the answers possible, and at that point, the parents can sign in.
Correct.
Alan, I had a follow-up question as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I had a thought here. Oh, I forgot it. Go ahead. What's your question?
I actually we're going to do a recap. So we are saying we need the school registration. Until that is not done, can't register the team. And so first we do the school registration, upload the principal acceptance or whatever that form is, right. And then we can go ahead and register our team and then get the releases and then assign the students to the events, correct? But we have until March 13 to do all of this, but the kids can continue to start working on their events.
So part of that, like the upload of the school form, the principal form, all that kind of stuff, that's just an ongoing. That's not a step that has to be done before things go forward. Oh. Right now, the biggest thing is getting you into the system, paying your fees, and me generating team numbers and stuff so that you can start moving students around. I'm one of those who knows that things are going to work out in the end. So if you haven't told your principal you have a team, well, shame on you, first of all. But you're going to have that form. We have never turned anybody away. We've had people turn things in late, but we've never turned anybody away. So as coaches, I don't want you guys to get stuck in this. I got to do it step by step by step. It's just all going on at the same time.
Okay, good to know. Yeah.
And then the biggest thing on my side is I've got to get into the into the Scilympiad this weekend and get everything set up so that my side is all done and it's all up to you to get students in, parents in, and so forth. So the thought that I had before that I need to put out there, especially to this group, is, and I want to show you, and I'm sorry, there's some personal information that's going to show up on this really quick, and I'll take it down really quick. But when I go into to look at, let's see, what do I want to go to this, and I'm looking at the teams. When I come in, I see that I have 18 teams and so forth. But what I've got is all of these people that are signing in. I need to know exactly who your coach and head coach is. I know I've got some list going on, but at this time of the year, people are changing who is their assistant coach and so forth. And it makes it kind of hard that when I go in to look at who has registered, I have all these people that aren't assigned to schools and they just say other. So I'm not too sure if they are parents. I'm not too sure if they're assistant coaches. So I need you to make sure that you have communicated to me exactly who the head coach is. The other thing that starts popping up this time of year is a parent will sign themselves in as a head coach and they're not a head coach. As you can see down here, we got Ambu. Ambu is both a state director and a head coach. She hasn't been assigned a school, but she doesn't have a school. So those are the kind of things that I need to I need people to start thinking about. Let me go here, be faster. To make sure that I have the right person. And I don't know if you guys saw that for your team. All right, anything else on registrations?
Hey, Alan, I have another question.
Go ahead.
So for each team, we need to provide a volunteer name. How do we do that?
It's in the system also. And I think that there could be some of the others that are out there. I need to go look at how we're set up and see if we have a place for them to sign in as a volunteer. I think I have seen some volunteers sign in, but on your coach dashboard, there is a spot where you can put the names in for the volunteers. I believe I've got to double check that. Yeah, volunteer opportunities. There's some things in there. So I'll send out a note on that also.
Thank you.
So each team needs a volunteer, and then we need a coach and the head coach.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Well, you don't necessarily need a co-coach, assistant coach, whatever you want to call them. I don't have one, but that's up to you. But we do need to make sure the parents know the distinction between a mentor and a coach. Mentors are just people who help them train. They're not the coach of the team. And that's where the confusion comes in at times, is parents think they are coaches because they've helped a group of students study, but they are just the mentors. They don't have the the ability to say, well, Johnny's going to be in this event or that event and things like that.
Alan, I had a quick question about event supervisors. If you could just kind of touch that topic just a little bit, because I'm super confused about that.
Before that, I just have, hey, Alan, this is Rupa. I have a quick question. Would you be able to send us the names for that you have for each of the schools so that we know if you have any extra names?
Are you talking about volunteer names?
The coaches or the volunteer names that you already have, because you said that you have some confusions over there.
So
because I'm not sure whose names you have from our schools.
I think it's easier if you send me what you have.
Okay.
Because then what I do is I go into the email and I double check with the contact list I have. And if there's somebody that you don't send me the name of, I include them on an email and say, okay, who are the people I'm supposed to talk to?
Okay. Okay.
Because I've got some teams out there that have 7 different names listed for their school, and there might be only 2 of them working this year, and I just need to know to remove the other ones. So it's easier if you send me an email saying these are the people you are the coaches, and those are the ones that I give the ability to use the head coach dashboard to. Otherwise, a parent, if a parent says there's a coach and I don't catch it, they can get in there and they can move kids around on the dashboard to different teams and things. And next thing you know, then, everybody's upset because Johnny's mom put him in an event that he wasn't supposed to be in.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Ellen.
Okay. Now to the event supervisors, that basically is what your volunteer is going to be. Your volunteer is signing up to help supervise an event. Right now, almost every event is covered for a test writer. We can thank Langley High School Science Olympiad team for that. There's only like 3 events that we have to cover, and I think we can do that without test writing without outside help. On the day of competition, it is my understanding that these high schoolers are going to be running the events, but we need to have an adult in the room with them to make sure things are run safely and kids are being treated fairly and so forth. And for that part, when it comes to competition day, they don't see your students. They just, they're there in the background. Students can send them notes if they have questions about the test. They can help reply back to those and so forth. But we just need to make sure that for that part of the day that we have an adult that is reachable for an event.
So Alan, I did have thankfully a few people volunteer. I just need one more for my last team to volunteer for this. So their question is, what would our job duties be? Would you be able to send some information our way to the head coaches, all of us, so that we can share that with the volunteers?
Well, once we assign them to an event, then we can share that.
Okay, awesome.
The other part of that is we may come back later and ask you for your volunteer names again, and we may ask you, well, what events are their children in, so that we have to do this tightrope thing, to make sure that mom is not, grading Johnny's test.
Got it.
Okay.
Thank you, Alan.
Hi, Alan. This is Julie Kim from Great Falls. I'm at the website for to sign in or to sign up for my event supervisor. But one thing I noticed is that it says that you need to select at least one choice for preference, but there's no list.
Right.
And
that's yes, Julie, because that's where that's my work this weekend.
Okay. Thank you.
I've still got to set up the events and the times and so forth. So yeah, that's my chore for this weekend. It'll be ready, I'm hoping, by tomorrow evening. The website is not very nice to people. There's a lot of different places to click in and out, different little nooks and crannies to look at to make sure everything is set. So I should have that ready for you guys by the end of tomorrow.
Great, thank you.
Hey, Alan, do we need to have a minimum number of supervisors or like volunteers for each school?
That's in the rule book. I believe we need one volunteer per team. So I have 2 teams this year. I need to have 2 parents volunteer.
Okay, thank you.
Alan, on the volunteers, so I'm assuming, and I'm a little confused about the role of volunteers. You mentioned that they have to be in the room. Now, this is a virtual competition, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so then, and the volunteers, there are some topics such as anatomy and physiology that'll only be written like a test.
So hold on. So let's talk about volunteers for a moment. Yes, we are virtual this year. When I say in the room, behind the scenes, the event supervisor and the adults are going to be on a Zoom in their own little room, watching the students take the tests virtually. So again, they're not going to see the students, but they're going to see the students answering the questions in real time. They're going to know when a student starts, when a student finishes, when a student enters the room. They're going to be able to help answer questions. When we're not in this virtual world, we need to train our parents to be volunteers, because they will be in the room with students. They will be doing stopwatches and tape measures and handing out tests and grading tests and so forth. So to me, when I use that in the room part, it's more along the lines of the old method we were using, which will become the new method once we get back out of this virtual world. And it is a matter of training the parents to see that, you know, even though you don't know anything about anatomy, all you have to do is be there as that friendly face in the room to help this child make it through this terrifying test, and to answer the questions as honestly as you can.
So so technically, then we need, say, if I have one team with 15 kids, then we do need 15 volunteers because they may be doing the test from their own home.
No, just one volunteer, because every school is every team, or let me say, every school is going to provide between 1 and 3 volunteers.
Yeah, but then if you, like you said, that the kids will be taking the test, you need that support, of course, with the age.
But that's that one parent from that one school.
But then each kid is going to be taking the test from their own homes.
Correct.
So the volunteer will not be with every kid?
The volunteer has nothing to do with the students at home. It's the volunteer that's going to help make sure that the grading is done correctly, to make sure that the students can ask questions of someone. It's that surrogate that we need in the room, because I can't be in 20 places at once, and Ambu can't be in 20 places at once. They are there. We make sure that before the event starts, they get a set of the rules, they get a set of the clarifications, they get a list of, these are what you need to be looking at, these are the steps you need to do. But one of the things that's out there, and it's prevalent, especially when we're in person, is too many people don't volunteer because they think it's going to be a hard job. But sitting there for some of these events that are only 30 minutes long, they're just watching the room for 30 minutes. It takes them another 30 minutes to help grade the test, and they're done. 1 hour of your time, of their time, is not that much. And that's always the thing that coaches come to is the parents don't like to volunteer. Well, you know, your child's in the event, you need to volunteer.
Oh, got it. So it's essentially not supporting your team, you're essentially supporting the entire tournament.
Right, you're supporting the tournament.
Got it, thanks.
Yes.
So Alan, just to clarify, we need a head coach, the assistant coach, then 3 coaches, and
three volunteers.
Okay, not 3. So the volunteers. Okay, so head coach, assistant coach, and 3 volunteers.
Right. If you have 3 teams, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
That would be, to me, the coach and the head, the co-coach, the head coach and the assistant coach, they are the team. And then everything else surrounds them. So the volunteers are going to take their place. Now, there are teams out there that the coaches volunteer. That's fine also. Especially some of these teams where the parents, you know, like I'm a Title I school, almost all of my parents have to work on weekends. So getting them to volunteer, sometimes it just doesn't, it can't happen because they have to be at work. But and that's where you look for that one parent who isn't working, and you find them and you say, hey, you need to help us volunteer. If your child wants to participate, you need to volunteer. And it doesn't take that long. Most volunteers, they come out of the competition saying, wow, this was neat, I want to do it again. The problem we have with Division A is they move on after a year or 2. You know, so we're always in that habit of, we have to train the volunteers. And then you as a coach, if you plan on moving up to B and C, it's good if you make those relationships now to say, okay, you helped here in Division A, now it's Division B, you really need to help now, because they have different volunteer requirements.
Alan, one more question. So I see, I haven't, of course, gone through all the rules of all the events, but some of them seems like we need to upload the video for some of them.
Right. We're still in the works on that. I haven't got my training yet, and that might be something where we have to meet it on another day. It could also be on that promised test out of the system for students, is that's the day where we test out the uploads also. So that's another thing that's in the works right now. But it will be basically an Amazon Web Service upload type site. And I just have to make sure that we know all the what's and wherefores for that. The other thing that I need to give you guys along those lines is I'm creating some images for parents to know this is, and also sheets saying, okay, this is how you, if you are doing the Chopper Challenge, this is how you are going to be our judge for us in that event. And I guess going back to volunteers, anybody who's got a child who's going to be in Mission Possible or Chopper Challenge or Right Stuff and Build a Barge, those parents are going to be volunteers because they're going to have to help upload those videos for the students.
Yeah, Alan.
Thank you.
In regards to the question, in regards to the event, for example, like the Chopper Challenge, there are information that the teams will have to provide, like a table or something. Is there going to be a standard format in which you would like them to submit, or when are they supposed to submit those information?
I don't believe there's any format that's going to give you any more points than the next team. It can be computer, it can be handwritten. I want it to be done by the students. I want them to learn how to start keeping track of their scientific investigations. A simple for Chopper Challenge per se, the simple thing is, well, we used a 5-inch wing instead of a 4-inch wing, and this is how it changed our results. So to me, it's all about doing those experiments and being kids, learning new things, trying new things. Just as long as you follow the rules there, it tells you how many flights they have to have, how many different changes they have to make to their chopper, and then recording the results. Yes, the neater it is, the easier it is for the event supervisor to look at it and say, yeah, this looks good. I can tell that they practice.
And it also says that the team will upload individual charts showing test results. So does that mean that each child will have to, even though they're partners, they still have to go ahead and submit individual charts?
Yes.
There'll be 2 different charts for each team then. Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Because they can't practice together. We have to still do our social distancing and everything. To us this year, it's going to be 2 different charts. It's going to be 2 different uploads on the day of competition.
So Alan, even for the building events, if a team is doing and their 2 children doing building events, both of them will have to submit their build separately, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Alan, is it okay if the kid individually participates in an event? In case, like for Right Stuff, I have only 1 student so far signed up.
I'm very opinionated on this. I never let a child participate by themselves. Somewhere on my team, I will find somebody who is doing nothing for that hour where they can be with that student, whether they know the material or not. I'll give you a Division B example. Just happened a couple of weeks ago. The student didn't show up for his dynamic planet. So one student was there. I just threw somebody in there and they still, had a reasonable good placement. Students can participate alone. That is totally up to you as a team. I can't make that decision for you, but I never let a student participate alone. I always find somebody there to be with them, even if it's just to read the questions, so that they don't have to read the question and look up information or think about the information. I never let a student participate alone.
Alan, I know the answer to this one, but I'm going to ask it anyway, since I promised a parent that I would ask you and get your verdict on this. The rules manual is where you get all the information on what material is to be used and what is allowed and what is not allowed. Parents always say, there are some kits available for this XYZ thing. Can we use that? And my standard to go is whatever's written in the rules manual is what we need to follow. So if you choose a material or something that's not a part of that, I consider that maybe Virginia Science Olympiad will think that we are cheating. So is that my right approach to giving them that answer?
Correct.
Okay.
For Division A, in real times, everything has to be built the day of the competition.
Yeah.
For this virtual competition, everything has to be built the day of competition. There are no kits out there that are just a paper for a paper airplane that a parent can go buy. There's no kits out there for Chopper Challenge. The biggest event that we have this year that's going to be, I'm going to say it's going to be the hardest one for students to participate in, is going to be Mission Possible, because they're going to build the day of, and they've only got that window of time to build it. And actually they have a longer amount of time in this virtual competition than they would in a real person event. So for Division A, there are no kits. And I know that some parents have kids in multiple divisions. And yes, in B and C, you can go out and buy a kit. But even at that, my B team, they make it all from hand because they learn so much more than reading somebody else's directions on how to build something.
Exactly.
You know, do they win? No, my teams don't win very often in Division B, but they have more fun doing it than, you know, having dad look over their shoulder to put this, you know,
Absolutely.
helicopter together.
The whole process is about learning and having fun while learning. I get it. Thank you so much.
Correct.
Alan, can I ask a question? Did I hear correctly that you said that the students won't be able to see each other and the monitors won't be able to
I'm coming to that.
Okay.
I'm coming to that.
Hey, Alan,
Alan, I have one question. I'm sorry. So is it possible for a student to participate in 2 build events if their schedule allows it?
You can have a student participate probably in all the build events if you wanted. You just have to look at the schedule. You have to fit it in the schedule and see when testing starts for the events.
Okay.
That schedule is your lifeline. Once I get the system set up in Sciolympiad, it's going to tell you that, oops, you've got this child scheduled already at this time. And I'm not too sure because Sciolympiad for the build events is going to be a little bit different, and it may be a testing out type of thing. But you know, you can't put a student in an event that starts at the same time. I know that part in Sciolympiad. But I'm not too sure, and it may be that once I put the ending time on these, that it'll tell you can't put a student in an event because let's take Mission Possible that starts at 9 o'clock and goes to 10:30. You couldn't put somebody in at a 9:30 event because they're still in Mission Possible at that time. So if a child is in a building event, you need to make sure that their next event doesn't occur until after, and this is just my thoughts right now, until after the end of that building event.
Hey, Alan, I want to ask about how students compete virtually. So in the rule manual, you said
I'm coming to that. I need to let me continue on here. So because I know you guys have questions about that.
So Alan,
Karen, can I append to what you just said? This is Karen. Can I
go ahead,
append to
Karen?
what you just said? So in Sciolympiad, so coaches be very clear, because actually if an event runs longer than the typical, you know, the written event sessions, which are only half an hour, you're going to have to monitor and make sure that you can, so let's say you have 2 events that start at 9 o'clock, one's a written event and one is this Mission Possible. The system will stop you from signing up a kid in an event that starts at 9 o'clock. But if Mission Possible runs, you know, 2 additional sessions long, it won't be able to stop you. It's not quite set up for different length events. So it won't be able to stop you from signing up that same kid that you signed up for Mission Possible at 9:30 and at 10 o'clock. You're going to have to monitor that yourself to make sure that you don't double book a student who's in a building event.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
So Alan,
thank you, Kate.
But then they are,
when you say about the building event, let's say Mission Impossible, the test is at 9 to 9:30, but then it says upload the video you have until, this is just hypothetical, 11:30. You said don't sign up from 9 to 11:30 for any other event.
Right. So what Karen is saying there is you could have them sign up at 9 o'clock for Mission Possible, then they could do maybe a 10 o'clock event. The Sci Olympiad is not going to tell you that they have an overlap of times there.
But you know.
But you as a coach should know. And Mission Possible is going to morph here in a little bit. And I think I sent it out in the last rules is for Build a Barge, Chopper Challenge, Wind Power, those kind of events, there is a written test about that event. And then there is the building part of that event. So take Right Stuff, for instance, they're going to take that test on the basics of flight. How does an airplane stay in the air type of thing. And then they're going to have that building phase. So the test for it is only going to last for that half-hour time. Whether they use a whole half hour or not, that's up to them, because they can end that early. But then once they end their test, then they go into their building phase, and they just have to make sure that they have their video uploaded by the ending time for that event. And let's say Johnny's in Right Stuff and it starts at, I don't know, 1 o'clock, and at 1:15 he's done with the test. He goes out and does his build, and at 2 o'clock he wants to be in another event. Well, he can be in that event. He's just got to make sure that the upload of his video, which in that case I think would be like a 2:30 time, is done by 2:30. He could do a 2 o'clock event. He could do a 2:30 event. He just needs to make sure that his upload of his video gets in on time.
Alan, is there no written test for Mission Possible? I thought all builds had a.
We changed it this year because of, and we just talked about that this week to change. And part of that is I didn't proofread the rules well enough, but it got into the point of they're going to need more time to build than to talk about simple machines. They could do the machines one for the simple machines. And I just felt that maybe it was just kind of unfair that we were asking them to spend a half an hour time, taking a test, and then only having an hour to build and upload. So
So Alan, is it safe to say that all of these, coming back to the slide that you have had up, which we haven't had a chance to go through, that all of this stuff will show up in clarifications of like, for example, Mission Possible will not have a written part and just the build, whereas some of the, and all of this is given in the rules manual, because I get this that, oh, every test is 30 minutes. Why is there a 1 hour slot? So it's 30 minutes written and then 30 minutes built, and then a video upload. So that is something, would that be kind of put in the clarifications if there are any updates made to an event?
They won't necessarily go to clarifications. They may just go straight to you as the coach.
Okay.
And then you need to disseminate the information out to the teams.
Got it.
The only thing that I'm going to put in clarifications is the questions that are answered. And I started answering some this morning. Some of them, and that's sort of why I put this up here, is the clarifications really should be for the students. And I've got these paragraph long requests for clarifications from coaches and mentors, and I see nothing in there that tells me the student is really thinking about this. This is that learning process that they need to go through, of being able to reach out to somebody other than mom and dad and say, well, I don't understand this. That's when they need to be asking these questions. I don't mind answering questions from mentors and things like that, because it will help them. But I would like for students to get into the habit of that. Some of the clarifications that people are asking for are just so simple that if they had read the rule book, then they would have understood what the rule was, and how it would apply to their situation. A lot of times on clarifications, if it's in the rule book, I may not even answer it, because that just tells me that the parent or the mentor hasn't read the rules. They just know that they have a description of the event, and that's what the child is studying for. The other thing under clarifications is people keep asking, where can I find materials for this? What are they going to study for this? I can't answer that. because I don't know. When the test writer writes the test, I give them leeway to find the information and to write the test the best they can.
Yeah, I have parents always asking me, so where do we start and where do we end? And I said, but that is something, I'm sorry, I really can, I mean, you just have to start with your grade level first, just start there. And then I actually, when I used to coach my child for an Olympiad, it was the most daunting thing, is where do you start? But then I think it sort of opens up slowly. And if the children can do it more than us, that's the whole purpose, is for them to, dive into the research, not really the parents per se.
Right. And I think if the kid understands what's in the description, sometimes they don't even need to read all the rules, because they can go out there. Like this year we're doing ornithology. Well, you got to go out there and start learning some bird calls.
Right.
What do these, what do these birds sound like?
Right.
Versus a parent writing me saying, well, where can I find information about the birds? Well,
yeah,
the kids can find that stuff.
Yeah.
By the way, Cornell Labs is a really good spot to find bird calls.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Hey,
Cornell Labs.
Alan, another question about the build event. This year, since we have the written test for all of the build events, are they allowed
I'm
the
sorry.
cheat
Hold
sheet?
on 1 second. Can you ask the question starting again, please?
So this year, since we have the test portion for the build event, are the students allowed a cheat sheet like a written test?
Only if it's in the rules.
I don't remember seeing one.
Only if it's in the rules. If it's not listed as something that they can have in the rules, then no.
Because most of the events did not have the cheat sheet
Correct.
allowed.
Correct. And part of that reason is on a 30-minute test, they're going to luckily get 20 minutes to answer. In the virtual world, it's going to be a little different. They're going to get their full 30 minutes, but in an in-person competition, they may get 20 minutes to answer. And for some of these events, to give a child a cheat sheet, they're going to take up 10 minutes of their 20 minutes trying to find things that are on their paper. And they're not going to finish the test. They're going to be frustrated. And they might not come back to Science Olympiad because they're frustrated. So to me, we're not doing college level tests. We're not doing high school level tests. We are, finding basic information. It's the start of learning about science. It's not, I'm not asking them to be heart surgeons or orthopedic surgeons in this case for anatomy and muscles and stuff. I think orthopedic's the wrong one, but it's more about discovery and learning things that could help them later on in Science Olympiad. This is especially for a third grader. If they start building their information sites of where they can find things right now, by the time they become a Division C student, they pretty much know what's going to be on the tests because they've lived it and learned it all these years.
I'm afraid this is going to actually discourage the kids, which means that they will have to remember everything, even though these are all new topics for them, especially for the third graders.
Correct. And for a lot of students, that's the fun of it. It's the going out and learning something new, something that my teacher in school never taught me, something that mom hasn't taught me. It needs to be fun for them, and I hate to say it, but the more parents get involved in this, the less fun students have, and that's just my opinion. I think it needs to just be as open as possible. We try to give them that safe environment of this is what the test is about. What can you find out about it? And the fun thing to me about science is it's ever changing. So they've always got to go out and find new things.
Right, but then allowing a cheat sheet for some of the events and
we're not. This is the rules that were set, and you as a coach had the opportunity to come to the rules when we created the rules, when we discussed them. I put out a note, and the only people that showed up were Andrew and me to set up the rules for the event. This is what we have. We're not going to change them. If it's not written in the rules that they can have a cheat sheet, they're not going to have a cheat sheet. Which brings me down to the last thing that I want to talk about today is student cheating. But I'm going to start off with this way here. You need to all know that children can use FaceTime or Skype or Zoom or Google Meets or Blackboard, whatever, or just a regular phone. They get to communicate to each other from different places. In Olympiad, when they're taking these tests, they have a place where they can send notes back and forth to each other. So they get to talk all they want, however they want, but then that brings up the parent interference. The parents technically should not be in the same room the child is when they're taking their tests. There's been instances in other competitions where parents have been in the room and actually answered questions for students. This is for the students, and the parents need to understand that they other than that video upload or that helping us measure things, the rest of it is all just on the students, not on the parents. We realize that there may be some technical glitches with software, with connectivity. That may happen. And if you have a child who's using one of those old school computers and they're trying to do a Google Meet on a school computer and try to answer test questions at the same time, there may be a drag on their systems because those school computers just aren't up to code. So around the lines of cheating, and I'll talk about B and C here, is we know that there are students out there that are communicating outside of what's going on. They've been Googling for answers, and through the way the tests were written, they have been catching students that are finding answers out there that they should not be looking up. For Division A, our biggest thing was to always move parents away from the competition so that the students can be free to use their own thinking. We will not consider it cheating if these students are talking to each other by telephone, or if they're talking to each other again, like in a Google Meet type of thing. That's not cheating. Cheating would be using a browser and going out and Googling an answer, or asking a parent for an answer, or asking a coach for an answer.
So Alan, just to intervene right now, just to make it clear, all these different mediums you've spoken about, FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, all of that stuff, the kids, and even the place that they can hang out in Olympiad, while they're taking a test, they can talk to each other about it with these mediums?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yes. And I want to go back to something about, we were talking about the notes, if they weren't listed or not. If they are listed that they can have notes, each student can have their own notes, and they can be totally different from each other. So when they're looking at the rules, Johnny can say, I'm going to do these rules, you do those rules, or I'm going to look up this information, you look up that information, and they can have two different sets of notes.
I mean, if it's allowed in the rules manual, right?
Right, if it's allowed in the rules manual. And okay. So when they get into the competition and they're communicating with each other, Johnny can say, well, you're the one who studied that, you answer that question, I'll answer this question.
Right.
When they see the test, they get to see the whole test at one time. So I'm training my students to, well, start at the top. If you can't answer it, go through and find all the ones you can answer, come back to the top and find the ones you haven't answered.
And Alan, just to confirm, when it's a written test, I know the building, both the kids have to build separately and show off their build, but Correct. The written test is going to be taken by one student, or once again, both?
It's both of them. They'll be they'll be in the room at the same time.
Okay. So they can actually say, no, I don't want to answer this question this way. We can answer it this way.
I'm sorry, say that again.
So they can actually kind of talk to each other and say, this question, I don't want to answer it this way. Like they can have their own little side thing going on. Got it.
The one thing we did find out on the testing is they can always overwrite each other's answers. So Johnny says, well, I've put the answer in, and Susie goes back and says, well, that's not the right answer. And they have that discussion. Susie can overwrite his answers and resubmit that answer.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Alan,
going back to that different mediums, like, did you say they can use FaceTime, Zoom, or not use?
Yes, they can use those.
Okay. And does science, this platform, does Olympiad also offers a chatting option for them?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a question about the videos that we're gonna upload, or the parents are gonna upload. So they take the test, and then let's say they have 30 minutes to build. They're gonna take a video that is 30 minutes long.
No.
Okay.
So paper airplane only lasts, the longest I've ever seen the paper airplane one last was 6.9 seconds.
But what about the Mission Impossible?
Well, they're trying to go as long as they can, but we're not talking 30 minutes here. So for the building events, at the end of their test, they're going to get a code word. They have to have that code word written on a piece of paper, show it on their video, do their video, and then show the code word again at the end, and then upload it. We don't want a video of them building.
Got it.
So we're looking for an end result. What does their end result look like? So like for Mission Possible, they show their code word, they do their discussion about this is my build. They run through their build with the timer and everything. And even our event supervisors, the high schoolers, they can go through and they can use a timer on the computer to see how long things worked. And then they show the code word at the end. Short and sweet. And go ahead.
How will you know parents did not help build the machines of whatever they're building if that's not in the video?
I'm a trusting person.
Okay, got it. Okay, so we're going here. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
I thought of
you as a coach are going to know your parents better than I am. But if we're watching a video and all of a sudden this mysterious hand comes in from somewhere else and touches the thing, then to me that's a violation. The only person we should see in that video is the student working, making sure their thing runs. Or if we hear a parent say, well, do this or do that, again, that's a violation. Parents are supposed to be mute. They're not supposed to talk. They're not supposed to do anything. They need to let their children enjoy the event, to be proud of whatever they accomplish, no matter how poorly we think it's done. We just need to let them have fun.
I just wanted to let you know that my team participated in Division B, and I actually, before the event, a few days before, actually had a meeting with all the students to let them know how important it was to literally follow the rules, because it's at the end of the day, it's more an honor system than anything else. You're representing a school, yourself, your upbringing. So, it's just like, I think relying on papers to help our kids participate, or cheat sheets or stuff like that for them to do well in the Science Olympiad, I think defeats the whole purpose. So I think that I kind of put that down to the parents, that please don't help them, let this be their own thing. Let them, even if they don't get a medal, even if they don't get a position, they've come out learning so much. And that's really what counts at the end of the day.
Got it. No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So the video will not be of them actually building the airplane or whatever they're building. It will be just the final result.
Yeah.
Correct.
Got
As the person who is in charge of our AWS uploads and things like that, and have experienced it through Division B, if you're trying to upload to a 2 gig file, it's going to take you hours. So again, we also do not want the build. I've just been communicating with Ambu about maybe making some checklists so it will be really clear what belongs in the video and what doesn't, so that you don't have half-hour-long videos, so that they're only just a few minutes and that they can upload readily and not mess up your resources, because people have varying internet speeds at home. We're buying a lot of functionality from the AWS end, but people's own personal internet upload speeds can be very slow. We don't want that to be a frustration either.
And since we're all parents, we have loaded iPhones with so many images on there, we couldn't put a 30-minute video.
No, I agree. I was so confused. I'm like, where are we uploading this video that it's going to be gigantic?
Yeah, all of that's coming. Yeah, but no, it's just the ending one. and going back to Mission Possible, I envision at the longest somebody's going to have a 2-minute video, and maybe not even that.
It looks like a very small platform too, so it can be.
It is, yeah, it is. And again, it's more about them learning, and that's why. And I guess that's something Amber wanted me to put out there, everybody. They can practice building ahead of time, but they have to start from scratch on the day of competition. So they can come up with all their ideas. As a team, the 2 members can come up with the same idea. That's fine, but they're going to have 2 separate builds.
Hey, Alan, I have a question about the student communicate to each other. Are they allowed to have one computer to sign into Silentpin to do the competition and have a separate iPhone or iPad to talk to each other?
Yes.
Okay.
That's
So-
not what the rules say. The rule
Well,
manual says
hold on.
one
Maybe I missed
device.
the first part of that. Can you
So-
ask the question again?
Basically, do they allow to have 2 devices? One
No.
for, so they have
No.
to do the communication on the same computer.
Yes.
Got you.
Yes. Yeah, I missed the first part of that question. Yes. Yeah, we have to teach them to do the side by side, put the video on one side and the test on the other side type of thing.
Oh, so it's the single device that they need to use.
Single device per student, yes.
But I feel like that
And-
goes against what you just said about how kids can be on like the phone or on
Yeah, I
FaceTime.
know. I understand.
Alan, one question I forgot to ask. So April 10th.
It's today the
is-
27th.
April 10th is the tournament. Like, so we have only one date. Like in Division B, you had options to go to which regionals we wanted to, but that's not the case with Division A, correct?
We're not that big. We don't have that many schools.
Okay. And are we going to get the list of is it possible to get the list of schools who are participating?
I don't know if you can find that. I think there's a place where you can find that as a coach. I think.
Oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I think I know. Yeah, we could get that information from Silentpia.
Yeah, I think it's.
Yeah.
Alan, I don't know if this will help, but somebody actually put this on the chat thread, which I feel is a good question, is any chance of moving software practice day as March 20th is states for Division B and C?
Yeah, I know I needed to update that. Yeah, we'll work around it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that'll be great. Thank you.
Yeah, I did find, and I know I said in the last coaches meeting, maybe we could open it up and have it for like a week long open, and that won't work. It has to be a daily thing. So yeah, so I'm looking at some alternate dates, and that may not be a weekend. Maybe we do an evening time or multiple different times. But it all has to be set up the same way. You set up your team again, and the students get in and all that, and register and all that other kind of stuff. So yeah, that's still in the works too.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Alan, this is Yuvi. I have a quick question. So does head coaches also should have some sort of communication during the competition day with all the parents and the kids, or is that not required? We do it everything through Silentpia.
It's not required. I do it with my team, but I have resources to do that through the school system.
Okay.
Yeah, that's I guess what I'm able to do is the breakout rooms, and I guess you could do that in Zoom too. And I know you can get like free Zoom accounts for a while, or limited Zoom accounts. A student in FaceTime, I've never seen breakout rooms in FaceTime. Of course, I haven't used that much. It's not required that the whole team be in the same place at one time.
So I actually have a question about that because our school computers do not allow Zoom or FaceTime. So in that case, the students would have to be on phone. They couldn't be on a separate device on Zoom or FaceTime.
But do you have Google Meet?
Not in the school computers. They're all within Schoology.
Schoolology?
Yeah. So I mean, I could work with the school to create a separate room in Schoology, but just clarifying that I would need to do that. They're not allowed to have a separate device because the school computers not allow those video platforms.
Huh, interesting. So how do they do their virtual learning?
Schoology, there's a big blue button which is integrated into Schoology.
Okay.
Video conferencing platform.
Well, so maybe that's the way you need to go is get your tech person to set you up another classroom. Yeah, I don't know that.
Are you LCPS?
No, Falls Church City.
And it precludes Google Meet?
Well, everything is done within, they do everything within Schoology. So everything goes, all video conferencing goes through Schoology.
Likely it's probably actually using Google Meet on the back end. I mean, we use Schoology in Loudoun, but all of and we have links and stuff within our Schoology, but they're all, generated via Google Meet. I do believe your computers probably will allow you to participate in a Google Meet. However, I guess the issue is that honestly, if you're going to use your Chromebook, whatever, like for Google Meet, it has to be generated probably by your school system is probably more so like our kids, that it's a true statement that they're not going to be able, if Alan generates a Google Meet from some other Gmail outside, or even if I, as a parent, generate a Google Meet from outside, it's not going to allow my student to participate in it. So honestly, like with my Division C kids, they have to use a personal computer because the Chromebooks will not support, all of the communication allowed. So it's something you have to consider as a school and as a coach, like what devices you have and what your limitations are. So I do see, like in talking about it, I do see your point with it. But your in-house Google Meets, as long as everything is generated by your school system, you should be able to, keep it in-house, but nothing outside. So.
Yeah, I'm working with I think that's helpful. I'm working with the tech person at our school district on that, but it's a little complicated. Alan, so the other question that my tech people at our school district had was, in the Science Olympiad platform, there's no two-way video?
No.
Okay, thank you.
No. Well, I haven't seen one, but I don't think there is.
Hey, Alan, this is Sudip. I have a question that might be more appropriate for clarifications, but you can just shoot me down if it is. In Mission Impossible, the setup that we give them, it talks about the box and all that. What the beginning setup that we give them could be different, right? I mean, according to the rules, it's a little bit ambiguous. Like the three sides of the box, do we give them the setup with the cut so it's already a three-sided box, or do we give them a whole box, or what do we give them as that starting point for that 30 minutes or whatever time? Is it?
I'm fine with either one. I'm just going to give them a box and say, here, have at it.
Okay, that's great.
Or take mom's Christmas Amazon box and use it. I mean,
okay, perfect. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well, but I just wanted to make sure. And then it doesn't mention the marble this year. Is there not a marble? It's really just.
I have to go back and look at the rules again. That was one of the last ones that I was working on, so I know there's a bunch of mistakes in there. I know there's some questions out there and clarifications about quarters and whether or not they can put them on strings and things like that. So yeah, I'll be revisiting Mission Possible also.
Okay, all right, I'll wait then. Thanks.
Yeah.
Alan, I have
but
some students.
Go ahead and put your clarification in, just so it reminds me that I need to come back and address it.
Hey, Alan, I have some students who will be from taking the test from the same home. So they are allowed to be in different rooms so they can communicate, instead of using an online platform.
Are these from the same family?
Yeah.
Put that in clarifications for me so I can talk to the rules committee about that.
Okay, sure.
And the reason being is that we have to make the determination as to whether that's fair to everybody else. So it has to be in two separate places.
In Division B and C, I know Karen made it clear that if you had twins, they could not be sitting in the same room together. You need to be in separate places of the house. So you'll have to make a determination on that, Alan, for A. But yeah, it's an unfair advantage to be sitting next to somebody. So
yeah, and I think that's the way that we were leaning. Or I know we discussed it once. I just don't remember. I have to go back through my notes, but I do believe that that's the way to go. Even if they're in the same family, they need to be in separate rooms. Just to be fair, especially during the testing time. I mean, when they're not testing it, whatever, but if they're in the same test, then yeah, they should be in separate rooms.
Sure, Ellen. Thank you.
All right, I have no more slides. Are there any final questions?
Hey, Ellen, I am in your website, the Science Olympiad Division A website, and I'm trying to access the rules manual, the updated one, and it says that I don't have access.
Did you click on the pop out?
I didn't get a pop out.
You're talking about the Division A website?
Yes.
Give me 1 second. Let me get to it really quick. Yeah, I have a lot of people who go out there, and I may get a different thing here once I show it to you than you will see, only because I'm logged into the website. Stop this
Alan, we're
share.
still looking. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I got to get things opened here.
Did you brush your teeth?
All right.
If you're logged into a school Google account, like an FCPS schools account, that can sometimes keep you from accessing certain things too. So be aware of that as well.
No, this is my personal account, and it's the same account that I have given Alan as a head coach.
So here under the spring rules, if you go to the rules manual, I put these directions out here before. This little button, if you click on it, it should bring you to the PDF version, and you can download it here. And I'll do that one more time.
Actually, I'm not even able to see that part of it. Let me actually let me see if I can go to the website and share my screen in this computer.
Rupa, just FYI, I think Alan also sent us like as an attachment in an email, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but then I'm just trying to see if the parents wanted to go to the website and see if there are any.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, see, I can only show you what happens on my side, and basically I click on this little icon, and it pops out into a PDF. It may be, and I think part of that is because it's linked. I may have to see how the linking goes. I may have to change that.
Alan, I face the same issue that Rupa mentioned, just FYI.
So when you click here, it says you don't have, you need to request access?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll take a look at that today also. And it's kind of hard because like I said, when I'm logged into stuff, I see a totally different view than you guys get, but I'll check onto that. All right, what else?
Hey, Alan, last question. So from each school, would we need to write any test, or like, you know?
I think we have it all covered.
Okay, all right.
I think we have the writing all covered, and we just need volunteers from you guys this year.
Sure, thank you.
So sorry, I missed the last part. What was that again, Alan?
The question was, are you going to have to write any tests this year? And I think we have it all covered. The Langley Science Olympiad team, the B and C team is actually, I think it's the C team, has adopted us, so they're going to write the tests for us.
Thank you.
Let me look. I have not been looking at the chat. I think we answered that one. We answered that one. Yeah, I think we answered all the questions in the chat too. All right, thank you all for coming.
Thanks, Alan.
And it may be that I come back and we have another meeting also, just to make sure everything's all set before the day.
That was the only question I would have had.
One last question.
Alan.
One last question before we leave. When will team numbers be assigned?
As soon as I'm hoping by the end of this weekend.
Okay, thank you.
Someone else had a question?
Yeah, Alan, I just realized I had one question too. So March 13 events turned in for review as per the timelines in the rules book. I don't really understand what's that. What are
you don't have to worry about that one because the high school's taking care of that.
Okay, got it.
But I need to know who your volunteers are so that we can start working on what events to place them in.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Alan, this is Julie Kim. I'm sorry, I had to jump into my school's Division A group chat. Did we set a practice day yet?
I had to move the date. I'll be sending that information out. Like I said earlier, it may be that we do a couple of weeknights. Every time we do a practice day, we have to set up like a full competition.
Sure.
So that takes a lot of work.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, we'll get it so that the students have at least one day, and it's just a matter of them going in and seeing the types of questions that are there, making sure that they can communicate with their friends. The questions won't be about the event they're in; they'll just be some, who signed the Declaration of Independence type questions.
Right.
Just little silly things for them.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Is practice day a day for the students to getting to their fake test? Is that, or is it for us as a coaches?
Well, it's so I would think it as being more of for the whole team, so that you as a coach can go in and use your coach dashboard and see like, well, who's signed in to take their test and have they finished their test and those kind of things. And for the students to look at the student dashboard so they can see what it's going to look like before the day of competition.
And just testing out software and all
Yeah,
and seeing
yeah,
if your
just
computers are
testing.
compatible.
Yeah, just testing it out and making sure your sorry, your hardware works.
Will you also be asking for test uploads as well? For practice uploads and with files and that kind of thing?
Oh, I haven't even thought about that yet.
Okay.
I haven't thought about that yet. That's probably a good thing, Karen. All right. Thank you all, everybody.
Thank you, Alan.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you, Alan.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So I guess we need to work on